while there is often a time and a place for SSRIs or anti-anxiety medications, I much prefer the natural route in finding a way to calm down the nervous system and have a peaceful mind and a healthy body. So try these for yourself if they're available in your country. A lot of these are being taken off the market and they're a little bit difficult to get. But if you can, try 1 or 2 or 3 or all of these out and let me know what it is that you're wanting to improve. Is it that you can't fall asleep at night? Is it that you can't stay asleep at night? Is it constant rumination that keeps you up? Is it muscle tightness? What triggers your anxiety? And as always, taking a functional integrative approach and bringing in the common sense lifestyle changes, like making sure that you're getting healthy, good quality sleep, that you are drinking enough water and keeping your body hydrated, that you're moving your body so that you can release tension and strain from perhaps sitting at a computer desk too much, or, just not moving enough in general. And eating live, healthy food, following your body's natural impulse when it wants to rest. All these things together make huge changes in our lives, but we have to be willing to do it. So remember to, do the necessary work to support your body and also integrate some of these practices that I give you on calming your nervous system down, increasing your vagal tone, and all the other good stuff that I share with you on this channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that now. Hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified when I drop a new episode. So on to the 7 fast-acting natural remedies that I use and I find act really, really quickly in bringing the nervous system down and calming those tender nerves. The first one is to use 5-HTP. It's a mood stabilizer and it is a precursor to serotonin. And serotonin is what helps us to have the dopamine high, to feel alive, to feel engaged in our lives and excited about the day. So again, be your own detective with this, especially if you have tried this before. Maybe the dosage is wrong. So you can't overdose on amino acids like 5-HTP and GABA, but too much of it can cause the reverse. So again, less is sometimes more when it comes to amino acids, especially if you have pylorrhea, which is hyper anxiety. So, and sometimes I find that 5-HTP works better for some people and GABA works better for some people. So again, it really depends on your body chemistry and it really depends on where you're at in the moment. So 5-HTP is a good one to try. The other one that I like is GABA, and it's short for GABA amino butyric acid. I know it's a mouthful, but again, if you take 5-HTP or GABA with theanine, this will help with the busyness. It'll stop the racing mind. It'll just slow the thought process down so that you can actually relax and get yourself to sleep or to be able to focus on the task at hand. I love GABA. Again, the body makes its own GABA, and it's very important in that it protects the liver and it inhibits a lot of nerve cells, which is why it's so good for anxiety and hyper-vigilance states like pylorrhea. So try out GABA. That's the one that works the best for me out of 5-HTP or GABA. GABA is the one that the minute that I start to feel that I'm getting anxious or I'm really can't relax or I'm feeling very tense, best thing to do is take a capsule of GABA, open it up, and put the powder underneath your tongue so that it's quickly absorbed into the bloodstream. It's the fastest way to get it into the bloodstream is sublingually. Same with the 5-HTP. The third one is CBD. And again, I have a whole other video on why I love CBD and why it's so good in calming down anxiety and really improving all the functions in the body. Again, our body has its own cannabinoid system, and its role is really in cell growth, brain cell regeneration. It reduces a lot of REM disorders, and it's just incredible for pain relief when nothing else works. So again, my take on this is not all CBD is created equal. I like to use whole hemp, the whole plant, and derived from hemp. And you've also got to look at terpenes. There's a lot of interest in CBD. It's started to be more readily available, but I kind of like to have a higher THC dose, not to get high. And again, this is why it's so important that you source your CBD oil, preferably from the area that you're living in, because it has the same vibrational frequency as your body and the water and the food that you're ingesting. So sourcing local is always a good place to start. And to also make sure that you ask, how was it extruded? Is it through oxygen? Is it through water? What is the extrusion process? Because a lot of times when CBD is made, they use very dirty processes that have a lot of heavy metals in it, and that's the last thing that you want. So have a look at my other videos that I've made on CBD and the benefits of it, and which ones that I like to use for that, because they're not all equal. And again, if you have anxious pets or you have children that can't calm down, try them with minuscule drops of CBD, because the body is very sensitive to it. So the first couple of days using CBD oil, just like everything else, start slow as your body builds the capacity and it sort of gets used to the frequency of that and your own cannabinoid system. You can then start to experiment, be your own detective with what is the optimal dose for you. And of course, it's going to change, just like everything. I'm not a believer in saying, take something two of these 3 times a day for the rest of your life. Our body chemistry is constantly changing depending on our environment, depending on our stress levels and what's going on in our life. So of course, we're going to have to adjust the dosages of any vitamin or supplement that we're taking, including natural remedies like this. The fourth one that I love is valerian root. This is a little bit less fast acting. You need to take it at least 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed. It's fantastic for PMS or menopausal symptoms like hot flashes. And again, it increases your body's natural GABA production in the brain. And this is what we want. This is what keeps us vital and alive and engaged and connected in the world. So valerian root, if you want to sort of take that on a day where perhaps your symptoms are milder, try out valerian root. The Skullcaps is another one that I love to use with my animal clients and people. And it has a very softer, more gentle effect than 5-HTP or GABA or CBD, which is very instant. Just like valerian root, Skullcaps, you need to take it a little bit earlier than before you go to bed. So make sure that you have it handy and you set yourself a good bedtime. We all want to aim to be in bed by 10 p.m., which is the peak of gallbladder time. This is when your gallbladder, along with your liver, both wood elements in Chinese medicine, really take the time to process your day and work out, on a neural pruning level of the brain, what to keep and what to learn from and let go of during the night. And this is another reason why it's so important to be in bed, ready, preparing yourself to go to sleep by 10 o'clock. And making sure that your energy hygiene is good as far as dark rooms and EMFs and any kind of other disturbances that might be adding to the fact that you're anxious or that you can't go to sleep. So try Skullcaps. It's fantastic antioxidant. It's been used for anxiety and depression and inflammation and even seizures for a long time. And it kind of goes right up there in my toolbox of Ayurvedic remedies that are really, really good in just supporting the body maintain or attain a really healthy, optimal balance. So try that one out. I know there's been some fantastic studies done in regard to Parkinson's disease prevention and stopping it from worsening in the use of skullcaps and valerian root. The other fast-acting natural remedy that I love is kava. And this is a pyrone that is incredibly healing for seizures, for muscle pain, for liver damage, and for just generally just calming down your nervous system really fast. You have to be very aware and I would say careful when you're using kava. Only see it as a short-term remedy. It's not something that you want to use for a long time because it can damage your liver. And also be very aware, like with the CBD, where you're sourcing the kava from. I was incredibly blessed to meet some beautiful mahalo, heart-opening locals when I was on Big Island in Hawaii last year, and was privileged enough to sit in a kava ceremony with them and sip my first natural kava root tea. And it really did. It brought me to tears. It was just such a beautiful, gentle, heart-opening space where I just felt so loved and so connected. And all my troubles, all my worries went away. So if you can, get kava made from fresh root in the proper indigenous preparation of preparing kava in ceremony, go and try it. I highly recommend it. If you're taking kava in a capsule or you're buying this in your local health food store, again, ask where it was sourced from and how it's been prepared. And never take more than a maximum of about 250 milligrams at a time. I don't think that it gives the same benefit as drinking the kava root in ceremony. It is a ceremonial plant, and I think it is a doorway plant that when it's used with reverence, when it's used as it was intended by nature, you can have huge breakthroughs in releasing traumas that you might not even know have been holding you back from living your best life. So if you've tried kava, I'd love to know how you found the experience and how you took it and what your insights and awarenesses were when you experienced it in a ceremonial way. The other one is one that you probably know of, and I can't stress it enough, and that is magnesium. Our soil and the food that we're ingesting to give our bodies energy and to give our mitochondrial cells the energy that it needs to do all of these autonomic functions is so depleted. And magnesium is something that we all should be supplementing with. It binds to and it stimulates GABA receptors in the brain, and we want GABA, as I said, as a way to protect our liver and keep us healthy and keep those myelin sheaths on our nerve cells flexible and permeable so that we can absorb and really live a full life. So take magnesium and make sure that, again, you're testing your dosages every night, especially if you feel like no matter how much you stretch or release or how much you kind of do some somatic release in the day, you still feel tense. Like, it doesn't matter how much you stretch, that sort of tension doesn't go away. And of course, we all know how awful it is to have muscle cramps or spasms. So upping your magnesium is a really good way to do that. Either take it orally, ingest it, or what I prefer is to use the magnesium oil, which is literally your Epsom salts, your magnesium, in water. Put it in a spray bottle, give it a good shake, and spray it after your shower over your belly, on the inside of your thighs, so that the absorption is quick and it's fast and it goes straight into the bloodstream. So that's magnesium for you. And last but not least, again, another Ayurvedic favorite. This is not as helpful if you have chronic anxiety or you're really having a bad sleep pattern of, days and days of insomnia. But all of these things, when you combine them, work together to give us our optimal state of wellness that we're looking for. And that is Nightcap or golden milk. Again, Ayurveda, this has been used for centuries just to calm down. It's also a beautiful way to ritual the end or the closing of your day while you're writing in your gratitude journal, or you're listening to some kind of meditation, to just sip on a beautiful warm mug of golden turmeric milk, or have a nightcap. I like to use almond milk or cashew milk as my base because dairy is very mucus forming, and I try to eliminate dairy from my diet altogether. And you just want to put a little bit of turmeric. You could put a little bit of coconut oil in there, some cardamom, some cinnamon. And if you don't want to use coconut oil, you could use ghee if you are using dairy, and some beautiful unprocessed raw honey, a little sprinkle of nutmeg. Warm it up slowly and really relish and celebrate the abundance in your life, and that you got to experience another day being you. So that's it. Those are my 7 favorite fast-acting natural remedies for anxiety and insomnia. I'd love to know in the comments which one you're going to try out, and if you have any other remedies that are natural that you find work to calm down your nervous system, heal from anxiety and unresolved trauma. If you're not sleeping very well, I'd love to know what's working for you. And as always, trust that you're enough. Trust your body as your greatest consciousness facilitator, and take time out to implement daily acts of kindness, of self-love to your body, so that you can get up and share your talents and your beautiful gifts in the world.